It's fascinating how technology has transformed our reality since the turn of the century, turning once distant dreams into everyday realities. As we reflect on the unfolding of the past, it's natural to wonder about the future. In considering what life might be like in 2050, it's exciting to imagine the advancements and innovations that lie ahead. 2024 will be substantially more momentous. Over 70 national elections occur worldwide, involving over half of the global population. This includes major democracies like India, Indonesia, Mexico, Pakistan, Russia, South Africa, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The year is also marked by the widespread use of generative AI in political campaigns, raising concerns about the spread of deepfakes and other synthetic media, which are now highly realistic and convincing, can potentially misleading the unwary. In the US, the upcoming election is pivotal, reflecting deep societal divisions. Donald Trump runs against incumbent Joe Biden. Key issues include the economy, immigration, healthcare, climate change, abortion, racial equality, and criminal justice reform. In the UK, Conservative leader Rishi Sunak confronts a revitalized and unified Labour Party following its 2019 defeat. After years of economic struggles, Brexit turmoil, COVID-19 scandals, and other crises, the Conservatives suffer a historic defeat in the 2024 election. Centrist Keir Starmer assumes the role of Prime Minister, marking a significant shift in leadership. Euro 2024 is the 17th edition of the European Championship, a quadrennial tournament organized by UEFA. It is hosted by Germany. It's the first time it has performed this role as a unified country since 1988. Launching first flight of the New Glenn reusable rocket is a heavy-lift orbital launch vehicle developed by Blue Origin, the aerospace company founded by Amazon boss Jeff Bezos. The organization SpaceX apparently has anticipates sending off their first rocket, conveying freight to Mars this year in readiness of a future monitored mission simultaneously. The worldwide space station will presumably run out of subsidizing in this year and be decommissioned thus, albeit this might be postponed until 2028. Viper mission to the lunar South Pole will begin. NASA will before long start sending science and innovation examinations to the lunar surface through its business lunar payload administrations. SpaceX put boot on to faces. The incredibly huge telescope starts up. The ETL will be the biggest telescope on the planet, ready to accumulate 13 times all the more light than the present most remarkable space-looking telescopes. In 2025, the second quarter of the 21st century witnesses a sharp increase in technological unemployment globally, leading to significant economic, political, and cultural disruptions. Unlike previous centuries where technological advances created more jobs than they eliminated, a fundamental shift occurs. Median wages, especially in the West, continue to stagnate, exacerbated by globalization and job outsourcing. Moreover, the rise of machines and intelligent software programs with human-like physical and cognitive abilities accelerates this trend further. Cryopreservation, the process of preserving cells or tissues at sub-zero temperatures, experiences significant advancements. A notable breakthrough is the successful revival of a mouse from storage at 196 octarate, culminating in the revival of a mouse. While human revival remains distant due to ethical, legal, and social concerns, cryopreservation becomes increasingly discussed in mainstream scientific circles, with startups emerging to promise future resurrection. Advancements in computing have made human brain-scale simulations feasible. Starting with the simulation of a single neuron in 2005, progress led to larger simulations, a neocortical column with 10,000 neurons in 2008, 1,000 neurons in 2011. Subsequently, simulations of mouse brains containing tens of millions of neurons were achieved. While simulating the human brain at this scale is now possible, analyzing the vast amounts of data to comprehend its intricacies will require substantial time. Nonetheless, this milestone in neurology prompts increased funding for research into brain-related ailments. Communication with the Voyager probes is lost. Both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 have operated for nearly 50 years, transmitting data back to NASA. They have departed the heliosphere and are en route to the Oort cloud. However, by 2025, their onboard power is diminishing. Each probe carries a gold-plated audiovisual disc intended for potential encounter with extraterrestrial life. These discs contain images of Earth, scientific information, and the Sounds of Earth medley, featuring various natural and cultural sounds, along with greetings in 60 languages. The ITER experimental fusion reactor is switched on, located in France, is activated. ITER, originally named the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, is the most intricate human-made machine. Its goal is to showcase the efficient and economic utilization of fusion reactions, akin to those found in the Sun, making it a pioneering project in fusion power. The Parker Solar Probe, previously Solar Probe Plus, embarks on a groundbreaking mission as the first probe to venture into the Sun's outer atmosphere, known as the corona. It approaches within 6.2 million kilometers, 4 million miles, of the Sun's surface, a distance just 4 times the diameter of the Sun. At last this year, the Fehmarn Belt fixed connection will be finished, which will give an immediate rail and roadway interface between northern Germany and Copenhagen in Denmark in 2025. The Goliath Magellan telescope is planned to be finished. It will be the biggest observatory on the planet as of now, and have multiple times the goal force of the Hubble Space Telescope. Moreover, the UK will have totally eliminated all of their coal power establishes the following year. In 2026, we'll perhaps see SpaceX send off the very first monitored mission to Mars in the event that everything goes agreeing to their ongoing timetable. NASA likewise has plans to send a monitored mission to visit a space rock this year, and development on the Catalan Basilica Sagrada Familia will likewise be at last finished. Development on this amazing church started as far as possible back in 1882, which implies that it will have taken 144 years to at long last finish it. America had been largely unchallenged in the Asia-Pacific region since World War II. However, China's rapid growth in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, accompanied by the expansion and modernization of its military, now clearly threatened its dominance. China strengthening its coastlines and surrounding local seas. Overall military budget of China was the second largest, but lacked its strength on a global scale. America contain and undermine both China and its interests, as the latter begins to rival the former as the leading superpower. Russia debuts its first reusable rocket. Mars Science Laboratory is shutting down. Completion of the Stadship Tunnel, a 1.8-kilometer, 1.1-mile canal and tunnel on Norway's west coast. This year in 2027, decade from the ongoing year, assuming you are watching this in 2017, the SpaceX group that sent off the year already will at last show up at their objective, implying that we could observe the very first people to go to Mars this year. By 2027, the EU has invested $210 billion, $225 billion in upgrading its energy infrastructure, allowing it to completely end any dependence on Russia for imports of oil, gas, and coal. Likewise, the full post-mortem report on Elvis Presley, which was consented to be fixed for quite a long time following his passing, will at last be made freely accessible this year in 2028. The Mid-Year Olympics will be facilitated in Los Angeles, California, at close to the furthest limit of the 10 years. Light-duty hydrogen fuel cell vehicles reach 1 million in annual sales. Bougainville becomes an independent country in 2028. mRNA-based vaccines for cancer and heart disease. China's economy surpasses that of the US. In 2028, China overtakes the United States in gross domestic product, GDP, and becomes the world's largest economy. This milestone has occurred earlier than some expected, due in part to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. China builds the world's largest particle accelerator, following the success of the Large Hadron Collider, LHC in Europe, twice the circumference of the LHC. Completion of the Brenner Base Tunnel. The Brenner Base Tunnel is a 64 kilometers 40 meters freight and passenger train route, running through the base of the Eastern Alps mountain range and linking Scandinavia with the Mediterranean. By 2028, Delhi has overtaken Tokyo to become the most populous city in the world. The Type 26 Global Combat Ship is a British Royal Navy vessel that replaces the aging Type 23 frigates. Following 30 years of research and development that began in 1998, it enters service in 2028. In 2029, the urban communities of San Francisco and Los Angeles will be associated by a rapid rail line that can move individuals from one to the next in only 2 hours and 20 minutes. In any case, when the 2030s at long last show up, we'll be generally in for an exceptionally fascinating. 10 years sooner or later this decade, NASA anticipates sending off their own monitored mission to Mars. So, in the event that SpaceX neglected to achieve this in 2027, NASA will likely land the primary people on the red planet. At some point around now, China further has anticipates sending off their own monitored mission to the moon. At some point during 10 years also, and Russia has anticipates handling their own cosmonauts on the moon in the year 2031. Skirting ahead to 2036 anyway, and we showed up at maybe the most aggressive impending space project, called it Breakthrough, Starshot. Without going into something over the top. Subtleties, the arrangement ought to have the option to send minuscule shuttle to the Alpha Centauri star framework, the closest other star to Earth, a planet inside the framework. Proxima Centauri b is situated within the livable zone here, and might actually be home to some type of outside alien or life. At the point when the small ships are ideally sent off in 2036, they will show up in the framework 20 to 30 years after the fact, and can take definite photos of this secretive planet. In 2037, we might see the primary summer where there won't be any ice in the cold, and by Arctic 2040, France will have totally restricted the offer of all gas and diesel vehicles in the nation. In 2042, the total populace will have presumably contacted 9 billion individuals, while Americans of European family line will turn into a minority bunch within the US. Interestingly, this year, we'll likewise presumably see the coming of the world's first trillionaire too, and in 2044, crafted by J.R.R. Tolkien, including The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, will go into the public area. 2045 is the assessed year of the innovative peculiarity, as indicated by the acclaimed futurist Ray Kurzweil, implying that this might be the year where man-made consciousness, artificial intelligence, will outperform human knowledge, which could prompt tremendous and unexpected changes in the public arena. In 2048, the Antarctic Treaty will come up for survey, which could prompt mining and oil ventures opening up on the mainland. Interestingly, lastly, we will show up at the extended period of 2050. By this point, half of the Amazon rainforest will probably be deforested. About 70% of the total populace will be living in urban areas. About portion of the worldwide populace might not approach clean drinking water. The typical worldwide future might be 76 years of age will be there in no time flat. Super savvy computerized brains that will be significantly more brilliant than people. Self-driving vehicles will probably be typical, and another new universe of perhaps hundreds or even large number of individuals will be living and chipping away at Mars. There are things to be both terrified of and energized for from here on out. So how about we try to fill in as hard as possible in the present to make our future all that one that we might perhaps envision. Please support me by subscribing my channel for more videos.